His Highness Sheikh Sabah Al Khaled Al Sabah has taken his oath as Prime Minister of Kuwait on Monday after being reappointed by His Highness the Emir Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Sabah. The Prime Minister earlier submitted his government's resignation in a procedural step following a parliamentary pulse. The Kuwaiti Premier during the oath-taking ceremony said that the people of Kuwait have great ambitions for fulfilling the aspired objectives by the new government. In a speech during the oath-taking ceremony, His Highness the Emir Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed noted that the new government would deal with a new phase marked with challenges and tasks of equal weight that warrant extraordinary efforts, diligent and faithful work in coordination with the Parliament. According to separate reports from tanker company Hafnia and United Kingdom Marine Trade Operations or UKMTO, at least one ship was hit by an explosion at the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's port of Jeddah. According to a statement posted on the website of Hafnia, a unit of shipowner BW Group oil product tanker BW Rhine was hit by an external source while discharging earlier Monday morning. It said the Singapore-flagged vessel immediately ceased all discharge operations and the fire was extinguished without any injuries. The UKMTO, which is linked to the British Navy, said a ship had been hit but didn't name it. It advised vessels in that part of the Red Sea to exercise extreme caution. Ghanaians voted Monday in an election seen as a close fight between President Nana Akufo-Addo and his longtime rival John Mahama, vying to lead the country long viewed a beacon of stability in a troubled region. From the oceanside capital Accra to the northern city of Tamale, voters lined up at polling stations at the crack of dawn to pick a president among 12 candidates and members of parliament for 275 constituencies. Crowds cheered and chanted 4 more years as the incumbent of the New Patriotic Party cast his vote in Kibi, a town in the eastern region. Tens of thousands of protesting Indian farmers have called for a national strike on Monday, the second in a week, to press for the creation of 3 new laws on agricultural reform that they say will drive down crop prices and devastate their earnings. The farmers are camping along at least 5 major highways on the outskirts of New Delhi and have said they won't leave until the government rolls back what they call the black laws. They have blockaded highways leading to the capital for 3 weeks, and several rounds of talks with the Indian government have failed to produce any breakthroughs. After 110,000 deaths ravaged the nation's nursing homes and pushed them to the front of the vaccine line, they now face a vaccine problem, skeptical residents and workers balking at getting the shots. Being first has come with persistent fears that the places hit hardest in the pandemic, accounting for nearly 40% of the nation's death toll, could be put at risk again by vaccines sped into development in months rather than years. Some who live and work in homes question if enough testing was done on the elderly, if enough is known of side effects, and if the shots could do more harm than good. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the first of many freezer-packed COVID-19 vaccine vials have arrived in Canada. Premier Trudeau tweeted a picture of them being taken off a plane. Canada's health regulator approved the vaccine made by U.S. drug maker Pfizer and Germany's BioNTech last Wednesday. The Canadian government recently amended its contract with Pfizer so that it would deliver up to 249,000 doses this month. Germany will go into a partial lockdown from Wednesday, with non-essential shops and schools to close, as Europe's biggest economy battles to halt an exponential growth in coronavirus infections. The new curbs will apply until January 10th, with companies also urged to allow employees to work from home or offer extended company holidays under the new measures agreed by Chancellor Angela Merkel with regional leaders of Germany's 16 states. Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga will chair a coronavirus meeting on Monday and could further restrict a travel subsidy program in an effort to contain mounting infections as his approval rating plummets over the handling of the pandemic. The Prime Minister's office said that Premier Suga may temporarily halt the travel campaign aimed at boosting the economy to the capital Tokyo and the city of Nagoya, the large industrial hub of Aichi Prefecture. Local media on Sunday flagged cuts to the travel campaign, while Osaka governor said that he asked the government to extend the suspension of the tourism program imposed on the Osaka region. President Donald Trump said Monday that he was reversing an administration directive to vaccinate top government officials against COVID-19, while public disruption of the shot is limited to frontline health workers and people in nursing homes and long-term care facilities. President Trump made an announcement hours after his administration confirmed that senior U.S. officials, including some White House aides who work in close proximity to the outgoing president and Vice President Mike Pence, would be offered coronavirus vaccines as soon as this week under federal continuity of government plans. The U.S. leader previously contracted the novel coronavirus and recovered. Many White House officials have already had COVID-19, potentially dampening their need for quick access to the vaccine. The European Union's rights watchdog has warned of the risks of using artificial intelligence in predictive policing, medical diagnosis, and targeted advertising as they block malls rules next year to address the challenges posed by the technology. While AI is widely used by law enforcement agencies, rights groups said it's also abused by authoritarian regimes for mass and discriminatory surveillance. Critics also worry about the violation of people's fundamental rights and data privacy rules. The Vienna-based EU Agency for Fundamental Rights urged policymakers in a report issued on Monday to provide more guidance on how existing rules apply to AI and ensure that future AI laws protect fundamental rights. Japan's worst bird flu outbreak on record spread to new farms and now affects more than 20% of the country's 47 prefectures, with officials ordering cullings after more poultry deaths. About 11,000 birds will be slaughtered and buried after avian influenza was discovered at an egg farm in Hashiga City in Shiga Prefecture in southwestern Japan, the Agriculture Ministry said over the weekend. The ministry said on Monday another outbreak started in Kagawa Prefecture, where the outbreak emerged last month. According to police, a gunman opened fire at an outdoor choir performance on the steps of the Cathedral Church of St. John the Divine in New York City's Upper West Side on Monday and was himself shot and wounded by police. New York City Police Department spokesman Sergeant Edward Riley said the gunman had fired on police, but no officers were injured. The sergeant said the suspect was rushed to a local hospital in critical condition. Oil advanced toward $47 a barrel before the rollout of the first COVID-19 vaccine in the U.S. and as news of another tanker explosion in the Middle East raised concerns over the region's stability. Futures rose 0.5% in New York after losing 0.5% on Friday. Oil in New York is up more than 30% since the end of October amid vaccine breakthroughs and an OPEC Plus compromise deal on production, with global benchmark Brent topping $50 a barrel for the first time in 9 months last week. Iran, meanwhile, plans to almost double output in the next year in anticipation of a loosening of sanctions after Joe Biden becomes president. The European Union and Britain will return to the negotiating table on Monday after agreeing to abandon a supposed make-or-break deadline for a post-Brexit trade pact. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen and Prime Minister Boris Johnson had said last week they would decide whether an agreement was possible by the end of Sunday, but agreed in a crisis call to go the extra mile. Negotiators did not offer a new deadline, but Conservative Party lawmaker Mark Harper suggested the extended talks could go right to the wire, with less than 3 weeks until Britain leaves the single market at the end of the month.